What's up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We're back with another episode of the Team Building Podcast, and we've got a great guest with us today. We were talking about lessons learned in lead conversion from 1 million internet leads. We've got a bunch of stuff to get into. We've got a special guest, but first, the man, the myth, the legend, Jeff Cohn, looking svelte as always. Jeff, what's up, man?
Svelte. Hey guys, super jacked about this topic and the guest that we have today, Josh Cunningham, CEO of Rockerbox. He and I have known each other for a long time. They are experts at lead conversion. They help real estate teams that generate internet leads convert those internet leads, and he's going to talk to us about how to do that. But over 1 million internet leads, that is super impressive. I don't know of anyone else who's helped scrub over 1 million lead opportunities, so we're going to get a lot from him. I'm just coming off of the Boomtown Unite event in Charleston, South Carolina. We spoke a few times there, and we were just introduced as one of their latest, newest, greatest peer, I guess they're called partner coaches. So Elite Real Estate Systems is one of their 6 partner coaches. We're really excited for that opportunity. So without further ado, Mr. Cunningham, tell us a little bit about Rockerbox.
Wow. Well, thank you, guys. Like Jeff said, my name is Josh Cunningham. I'm the founder, CEO of Rockerbox. I'll let Jeff tell you the longer version story of how we're actually related. But yeah, I actually got into this crazy game of the world of internet lead generation, internet lead conversion about 5 years ago. I was working with Frank Klesitz at Viral Marketing and traveling the country with him and going to all the different top real estate events around the country. And, you know, that's how we've gotten to know guys like you and other sort of influencers in the real estate world. But essentially, we were buying our way into the most prestigious rooms in real estate, the top masterminds, the top real estate groups, the top coaching organizations, to really find out what was keeping, you know, the most successful people frustrated in their business. And over and over and over again, I constantly heard people talk about their agents not following up with their leads. And so, you know, I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. And anytime you see a common, you know, weakness or a common frustration that is shared by many of the top successful people in an industry, it smells like opportunity. And so 5 years ago, I actually got started. It was really just a part-time project. I had one of my clients ask me to help her hire an ISA. Since I had been going to a lot of the different events and networking with a lot of the top teams that had actually done this at a high level. And so her name's Spring Benson. She's actually out of Salt Lake City, Utah. And she was actually just at your workship yesterday, Jeff.
She was, yeah. I just met Spring the first time. She told me that your startup started in her basement.
Unfinished basement. Yep. Yeah, that's my claim to fame.
Yeah, she's a great agent. She has a team of about 10 agents now, I believe, in 2 different marketplaces.
Yep. Yeah, and when we started about 5 years ago, it was just her and a couple agents, and they were, of course, cherry picking the leads. And so I could work from anywhere, and so I literally bought a one-way flight to Utah, and she put me up in her unfinished basement, and I would go to work with her every day, and we hired an ISA, and I would work with them every day and work on scripts and dialogues and objections, and we created all the checklists for all the work and all the lists that needed to be called every day. And so we set it up hypothetically, right? Like, here's all the theories that everybody said that we should do. And so we implemented it, and then I jumped on the plane and I flew back to Texas, which is where I'm from. And within the next couple of weeks, everything kind of started falling apart at the hinges. So I know a lot of people have tried giving out the leads to agents, and we know agents are normally involved in other higher income producing activities, like working with clients or negotiating contracts. And so easy for them to forget about the leads. But then we went the ISA model. We just went in-house. And then the issue with that was we only had them available a certain number of hours a week, but the internet doesn't close down at 5 p.m. Just in case I don't know if you've noticed that, but it's 24-hour day type of thing. Yeah. So there we were. We had all this activity on the website just ignored. But then for these finite amount of hours during the week, we actually had didn't have enough work to do. And so that's when I realized maybe like a shared resource. You know, it's the Uber of real estate, if you will.
Love it. The Uber of real estate. Everything's the Uber of something. So, you know, guys, everyone listening, we have several options as a team leader, right? We can not create internet leads, just allow people to work their sphere. But, hey, memo, you still have to call them. Number 2 is we can direct all of the internet leads to our agents and hold them accountable to working them. We can have an internal scrubber, internal sales team that takes the incoming leads. We can have a virtual scrubbing solution, which is what Rockerbox would be. They are located in the United States in College Station. Most people that work for you, I believe, are college students in College Station. Or you can go overseas, and there's lots of great companies, including mine, thousandcallsaday.com. But there are differences, and I really want to acknowledge those differences today. When it comes to outbound lead generation, our virtual assistants at 1,000 Calls, they spend a lot of their time making expired FSBO circle prospecting, and they scrub. I do not think that they're going to be as good of a fit as someone within Rockerbox that's scrubbing from College Station, that doesn't have an accent, that understands the lingo, that probably is trained up a little bit better. So let's get into that a little bit, Josh. For anyone listening, and most of our audience is team leaders and a lot of people that are working internet leads, how do they start to even make the decision as to should they do the calling, should their agents do the calling, should they use you, should they use an overseas caller? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, and I see people ask it all the time on the internet and all sorts of Facebook groups and stuff. But I think people in their mind they're thinking, okay, take the leads away from the agents and give them to this other thing, but they don't understand this other thing very well right now. But here's the easiest way to divide it is, first of all, you have to look at the difference between outbound versus inbound. Outbound prospecting is all about your productivity. How many dials did you make? How many contacts did you make? How many appointments did you set? Let's work on your objection handlers. Let's work on having someone tell you to go to hell or to leave them alone, because it's a highly competitive market, right? When you're calling expireds, oh, you're the 14th agent that's called me today, right? Very competitive, right? So with that, you need to be a very productive caller, right? You have to be very well scripted. You have to be very well versed and able to kind of get through all those no's to find a yes. For inbound, it's a totally different ballgame. It's not productivity, it's about availability, right? You got to think of this as a customer service role. You've already established your brand. They've already landed on your website. They know elite real estate systems now. Like, this is actually now essentially this is the first step in them being a client of yours, right? They've walked into your virtual store and they're now shopping the aisles, right? And so that's all about availability. It's why Walmart has a greeter at the front door, right? It's why every fine dining steakhouse has a hostess at the front door, is to greet that person, figure out what it is that they're looking for, and get them that information the way they want it, how they want it, in the timely manner that they want it. And so that's what we've been accustomed to expect as a consumer, because we live in an instant gratification society nowadays. I mean, I don't remember the last time I watched live television. It was probably the Super Bowl. And even then, I probably paused it and let it get ahead so I could fast forward through the commercials throughout the game. So nobody watches. Yeah, nobody actually
during the Super Bowl.
Yeah, fast forward through the Super Bowl commercials.
I fast forward through the game to watch the commercials.
Got it all wrong. But yeah, everything that people do now, when something pops in your mind and you want an answer, you have the entire answer to every single question in the entire world in your pocket. And so inbound is all about availability. That something just happened in that person's life that triggered an emotional info-seeking process. Now they walk into your virtual store and they're standing around and nobody's helping them. Right? Let me
address real quick that virtual store, because this is another area where a lot of people will discuss, who should respond based on which store they were shopping at. So a Zillow lead comes in and they elect, hey, I need a real estate agent. A lead gets forced to a squeeze page on Real Geeks or Boomtown or Conversion, Commissions Inc., Firepoint, and they have to register. A lead comes through Craigslist. It comes through search engine optimization off your website. It comes through Facebook. I mean, the list goes on and on. Instagram, even Snap leads I see these days. I haven't seen a huge difference from a lead conversion standpoint, or how long those leads have to be in incubation before they go under contract. What I found is they're all people who made a choice to give their contact information over to us, right?
You mean Zillow didn't actually create these people?
Right.
Boomtown didn't actually create these human beings and give them lives and everything? That's crazy. Right.
So what I found is the way you choose to then interact, communicate, and I like Michael Mayer's 7 Levels of Communication. There's a lot of other great books out there, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and now there's one, How to Win Friends and Influence People in the Digital Age. The businesses of the future are going to win in the way they choose to communicate with the lead. So I loved your customer service approach with like the Walmart example. Who is at the door of your business, virtually or not, welcoming, greeting those individuals that choose to come through the threshold. We know, all three of us on this call are millennials. If I'm not greeted, I'm out. Like, these people don't care about me. I'm just another internet lead. I'm going somewhere else. So in that line of thinking, how quickly do you feel someone needs to be greeted upon registering on a website or a squeeze page?
So when we first started out 5 years ago, the industry standard was 5 minutes, and really nobody was even getting that. It was just kind of this like lofty goal. So that was the target that we set 5 years ago. Now, and we track all these statistics internally, 100% of our accounts are in between less than a minute to up to 2 minutes maximum. I mean, it's an instant response.
Is that always a phone call, or do you guys
always
use
a phone
Snap
call
feature or instant message feature?
Always a phone call. Always a phone call. I mean, again, even in the digital age that we live in, everybody wants to try to find a shortcut.
When you say phone call, do we have to talk? Like, do you have to talk on the other end of the phone?
Yeah,
like,
this thing
is there
right
a conversation?
here, despite all the apps and everything on it, the first thing it was invented for, there's this app where you hold it up to your head and you say stuff, and the other person can hear what's coming out of your mouth. It's the craziest app in the world.
But do you have to be ready for them to ask questions and respond to them?
Totally.
And this is a little tongue-in-cheek, you guys, but it's shocking if you don't understand the humor that we're having right now, how many people choose not to communicate because they're scared to communicate this way, and they're hiding behind the fact that there's some statistics out there that say you're better off not talking on a phone. You're actually better texting. And you might get more of a response out of texting. I still don't think there's analytics that prove that you're going to convert the most amount of people from texting.
Yep. Yeah. And it, like I said, we've, over the last 3 years, handled almost 1 million registrations, and over 80% of our efforts come from phone calls. So
from a phone call. The challenge, and to address it, Josh, and you can agree or disagree, but what I've seen is the reason that talking is better than texting or snapping or Facebook messaging is because you can converse faster, you can access communication quicker, you can get information from the person you're speaking to faster, and information's key. But the most important element is people do business with people who they know, like, and trust. Mm-hmm. And it's really hard to have the human element when you're texting, snapping, or instant messaging. When you're talking, you hear the intonation, you hear fun and humor and excitement. That all has to come across the conversation. And that's one of the things I loved about Michael Mayer's book, where he talks about the the 4 informational zones and then the 3 influential zones. And talking on the phone was one of those influencers. Yep. So you get them on a phone call. Your people are trying to call within 30 seconds to 2 minutes. Are people upset? Are they like, are you kidding me? I expected this. This is so annoying, and they hang up? Or what's the overall response, do you feel like, from those leads?
Yeah, so here's the thing. So we realized inbound response is all about availability. So we team up our office 12 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and then we're open on the weekends as well. So we're almost in the office 80 hours a week, because we know that when that lead walks in typical retail hours, the right thing to do is to greet them. And that's kind of where my background comes from. Back when I was in high school, I got to open up a Best Buy that was opening down the street. And then when I went on to college, I got to run the Best Buy in College Station. And so, like, I was ingrained with all of these customer service values, these non-commission values. How crazy is that, right? In such a commission environment that we live in, where you actually just help people because it's the right thing to do, because you're proud of the value of your work, and you're proud of your ability to help people out. And so you step up and you do that right away. So here's the call, comes right off the bat. You got to make that connection. So there are some people out there that, yes, they're surprised that when an internet website asks them for their name, phone number, and email address, that they'll get a phone call. But again, it's all just about knowing that that we show up to that phone call from a position of contribution, right? Our goal is to help that person out, is to figure out what it is.
Would you mind showing me an example of what that phone call might sound like?
Yeah, sure. So, ring.
Hello.
Hi, is this Jeff?
Yep.
Hi, Jeff. This is Josh. I'm with ABC Realty. How are you doing today?
Oh, I figured someone would be calling me.
Of course.
That's pretty impressive, dude. I just registered like a minute ago.
Well, the market's moving quite fast here, so we want to be on top of our customers and make sure we're helping them in the way that they want to be helped. But while I've got you on the phone here, Jeff, what brings you to our site?
I just was looking at this house that got listed down the street from me and was curious what they listed it for. So I already found all the information. It looks like $300,000, so pretty high in my opinion.
So without role-playing the entire call.
Yeah, we don't need to overcome objections.
That's the objection.
I mean, that's as simple as it is, right? You're just saying, hey, thanks.
Yep. It's just like when you're shopping for TVs and you're flipping through the Sunday ad and you're doing your shopping online. You already kind of have figured out what TV you want. You march into Best Buy, you walk back to the back of the TV department, and the guy walks up to you and says, hey, can I help you today? What do you say? I'm just looking.
No, thanks. I'm good, man.
I'm just looking, right? Yeah. It's a reflex now. Yep. So these are the types of things that, in our headquarters in Rockerbox, I mean, we don't like to use the word call center because that has such a negative connotation. But we're an inbound response team, and we take pride in connecting with people and helping people in their home buying process. And we know that there's a ton of wasted time that they could spend by just aimlessly browsing on the internet, thinking that a different website's going to have different information. And so for us to be able to connect with that person, find out that they're motivated and ready to go, and actually connect them with a highly successful and reliable realtor in that area, it comes from having pride in the work that you're doing.
One thing I want to address, I think all that's great, and I agree with you. I
Mm-hmm.
think one would be better to have that awesome real estate agent that you're going to eventually connect them with answer the door, greet you at Walmart, but you don't get the general manager at Walmart thanking you for coming into their store. You usually get someone that's retired, someone that's not super high energy, that just has a nice smile that says, hey, thanks for coming in. And if you do have a question, they can point you in the right direction. So for every team that comes through my workshop, and I'll tell everyone that's on this hangout with us today, you should have your agents greeting all of the leads that come in. But in 99% of the cases, those agents aren't going to do it. And you're going to pull your hair out just like I did and freak out about the fact that your agents aren't doing it. Why aren't they doing it? Because obviously you did it. You know, all of us high D CEOs who are successful rainmakers, your agents aren't wired the same way. So why not hire a firm like Josh's? Josh, will you talk to us about what it costs? But why not talk, to a firm like Josh's who's going to help you greet every lead that comes in and then funnel those leads to the appropriate agents once they have those high-level conversations. So what's it cost? I mean, are we spending thousands of dollars a month to be able to have this full-time greeter working off of all the leads that come into our website?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at trying to duplicate that experience, again, we're open 80 hours a week. So there are laws against slavery in the United States. So you can't get one person to work that many hours. So that's like two full-time people. And I don't know where you're at in the country, but I mean, really 2 full-time people a month. You're looking at, somewhere about $70,000 annual income without any type of commission or perks or bonuses or whatever. So a lot of people have a really hard time building a good compensation structure. But then you got to go find that person. You got to train them. Who's going to be listening.
This isn't Josh's pricing, just for anyone that's sticker shocked right now. He's breaking down what it would cost if you hired a greeter, so to speak, internal sales team to take inbound opportunities, right? You're going to be, in my market, you're $40,000 a person for a full-time role. So 2 people's would be 80 grand.
And I always love it when I see posts online. People are like, hey, I'm thinking about hiring an ISA. Does anybody have a good job description? Like, a good job description? How are you about to hire someone and you don't even know what their job is? That's crazy.
Well,
right?
most people have never even done that job before, and then they train someone to do it, and then they say it didn't work, and it's the truth.
So they're literally looking for, they don't even know the job description. They don't even have to describe what it is that they're trying to hire, but yet they're going to be the one in charge of finding good talent, training them, overseeing them, listening to their calls, all that stuff. Right. So you've got all those costs, right? And then obviously there's turnover because nobody's ever going to do this for their entire life, which is what we bet on. That's why we're in a college town. We want to get these kids while they're young and enthusiastic, and we know that they're going to move on to brighter things. So I mean, you're literally looking at. I mean, we've calculated once before. I think it was like $132,000 annual value, right? It's but if you buy now, no, I'm just joking.
Right, exactly.
Essentially, at Rockerbox, you can get started for as little as $1,000 a month. And
$1,000 a month.
Yeah, and that's 320 hours of coverage a month. That's like $3-something an hour. And again, the way that we do it is because we're using shared resources. So we have a team of 65 part-time ISAs, and they're broken up into squads. And so each squad oversees a certain number of clients. And so they get a little bit of familiarity with the team name and the area and things like that. But essentially, there's a team of about 10 to 15 people that could work your account. And they're in there all day, all hours of the day.
How many leads is that? If it was $1,000, is that a couple hundred leads a month, or?
Yeah, it's up to 100 registrations a month. So that's 100 new registrations that we're handling. And
if you're generating 100 leads right now, your team's sucking at converting your leads. No one's calling them, or they are calling them. They're just not doing a good job. Maybe they're only calling once. They hire a Rockerbox. You guys are on 80 hours a week. There's someone there to take the call within 30 seconds to 2 minutes, and then they're going to funnel that lead to whoever the team leader asks. There could be a denoted person each day that gets that lead opportunity, or it could just go into a bucket and anyone would have access to it. What I'm curious about, and I know our audience is going to want to know this, and I know we don't have a lot more time, is once you do talk to that lead, once you made that first initial call attempt and they don't answer, the big challenge in the industry is only like 1 out of every 10 internet leads answer the first call attempt. How many more calls are you going to make? Are you going to set up a drip email? Are there listing update emails you set up? Are there follow-up calls? What's that look like?
Yep. So what we've learned over time, you're right, you gotta make more attempts than just that first attempt. One thing that's made us better in making that connection is getting that time to first call from 5 minutes closer down to 1, closer to an instant response. But after that, what we do is we make a total of 10 call attempts to the lead within the first 2-week period. We also send out 4 text messages, and then we also put them up on an email drip campaign.
Who do you send the texts from?
All the CRMs have a built-in texting tool.
So is the text coming from the agent that the lead's assigned to, or is it coming from Rockerbox?
It comes from the client care department. So
all that company.
Yeah, yep, all the leads come into the client care department. All
Okay.
the communications are done by the client care department.
And your drip emails that you use are set up within their system. So those emails are going from the client care department as well within that team. Cool.
And
no one ever hears Rockerbox. No one ever knows that this person's not physically in that office reaching out to them.
No. In fact, we actually just posted a testimonial to our Facebook page the other day. One of our clients secret shopped their own website, and they were like, giving them the business, being a really difficult customer.
Them the business.
And they were trying to get them to admit or open up or somehow break that connection between them and their brand. And so here's the team owner attacking one of our callers, trying to see if they can keep the connection with the brand. And they were legit the whole time. They're like, oh yeah, I'm with ABC Group. Yeah, we're located in this, we service this area.
Right.
They never once said, I'm Rockerbox
awesome.
and I'm a college student, College Station, Texas, calling you.
So what legalities should someone be concerned about that would think about working with you? Do they need to check with their broker or an attorney in their city? Is it legal to have people calling on our leads from Texas?
Yeah, we're an unlicensed assistant, so you just got to see what your state says about unlicensed assistant. But in no way, shape, or form are we creating any real estate counsel or advice. We don't talk about availability of homes. We don't talk about the pricing. We literally don't even talk about the information that's available on the website because we don't even want to get anywhere close to those. So
your goal is simply to find out when are they buying or selling, and then hand them off to an agent. You're like a personal assistant, just setting up appointments for the agents, lining them up.
Every time we hang up the phone, one of our callers can confidently say this person either needs to speak with an agent or they don't need to speak with an agent. And if they don't, we just keep them in our pool and we touch base with them monthly just to see when that time does come.
Sure. I align you guys perfectly with everything Josh talks about. And we've known each other, like I said, a couple years. I found out my grandma's maiden name is Cunningham, and so be it that I'm Mormon, I don't know if I've ever said that on air, but we're huge in genealogy, the Mormon Church, and so I have a good friend of mine that likes to work on family history, and I asked him to look us up, and lo and behold, we share the same great grandfather, which makes us like seventh cousins or something ridiculous like that. So we like to joke about that story a little bit. But I do agree with your guys' methodology. I do think agents should be converting their own leads. I think they miss out on some of those greeting techniques when they do have to engage with their sphere and their own prospecting efforts if they're not doing the greeting for the internet leads. But I know most people aren't going to. They're certainly not going to do it consistently. So maybe one day they'll do great. The next 6 days they'll fail forward. So my recommendation is to use a firm like Josh's. I think Josh has the best company located here in the U.S., and I think you guys will be very happy with their service. Obviously, if it doesn't work after 12 months, you could break your contract. I'm sure you have a clause to do it sooner, but I tell everyone anytime you're going to put money towards anything, do it for 12 months and then track the results. If you're generating internet leads, guys, it's a no-brainer. So, Josh, how would someone get in contact with you if they did want to learn a little bit more about Rockerbox or maybe even get on a demo call with somebody?
Sure. If you want to shoot me a personal email, josh@Rockerbox, and we spell it kind of weird, RokRBOX.
And what is that?
So a Rockerbox
why Rockerbox?
A Rockerbox is an old gold mining tool that they used to use in the 19th century to separate sand and gravel from gold. Yep, it's like a big box. You dump all the dirt in there, you shake it all out, and then you get those little flakes of gold out in the bottom, which is essentially what we do. I mean, we're literally working with a fraction of a percentage of the leads, but real estate commission is pure gold, so it makes it all worth it.
Awesome. Cool name. So Josh@Rockerbox.com. Rockerbox is RokRBOX. Josh lifted up his shirt, but for a lot of you, I know you just listen to the podcast, you don't see it. So just Josh@RokRBOX.com. He is the CEO. Email him as often as you would like with any questions that you have about lead conversion. If you want to have him speak in your office, anything, just reach out to Josh.
Yep, certainly. I'm happy to help out in share any of the expertise that we've learned over the last couple of years. That's what it's all about.
Johnson, what did we miss out on? I know Matt has been silent this call because he had some upload challenges today. Have we missed any good questioning that we should have been asking? I feel like I got through the things I thought the audience would want us to ask about.
Well, briefly, we just need to mention the Team Building Summit, theteambuildingsummit.com. Check that out. That is coming up here in May. And
Josh is speaking.
Yep, exactly.
And Josh is also speaking about how what was something with millennials, like the best way to communicate with millennials, or what is the topic, Josh?
Yeah, our entire millennial engagement. Our entire team is composed of college kids, and we have people come and request office tours and do walkthroughs at our headquarters, and people are just blown away at the at the millennial engagement that we have going on. So we're going to share some of our secrets about how we can actually, excite and energize and motivate millennials, believe it or not.
Yeah, so Josh is going to be here in Omaha. So is Frank Klesitz, the CEO of Viral Marketing. The director of marketing from Boomtown is coming. Boomtown's actually one of our sponsors. Matt, you and Greg are coming. Greg McDaniels. Greg Harrelson, one of the top agents in the country, is going to be speaking there. And we have a handful of other speakers and keynotes. Dotloop sending a representative, and I'm probably leaving a few other people out. But we're also going to be doing a portion of our team building workshop. I'll be speaking as well, and both of my direct reports will be speaking. So this event, we're going to start doing these every single year in Omaha in May. It's May 8th, 9th, and 10th. It's $297 to come. Normally my workshop's $3,000. You're gonna get 2.5 days of content for $297, and then there's a VIP ticket upgrade for $497. Most people that have signed up already have done the VIP upgrade because it's a no-brainer. You're gonna get a ton of one-on-one time with all of the guest speakers, and it's gonna be a great time. In addition to that, just a mention of live stream. For anyone that's not familiar with that, you've been under a rock, but every Wednesday, Friday, we stream all of our team's content. It's 8 hours of training for an individual agent for $17 a month. We're the first ever virtual option for someone that wants to join a top team's training anywhere in the world. You can jump on your tablet or jump on your cell phone and watch those trainings live and interact live via InstaChat. In addition to that, we have a team product that's $497 a month, where we have an additional call every week, so it's 12 hours of content, and that calls for team leaders specifically, and you get a weekly coaching call for 15 minutes. All of that, $497 a month. So jump on EliteRealEstateSystems.com, click on live stream, and learn a little bit more about that if you have not yet already. Johnson.
Then for the podcast, make sure to subscribe, YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, depending on whether you want the video or the audio versions, and that will do it for today. Thanks so much, guys. We appreciate it.
Josh, great job, man. Thanks for coming on today. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.